I'm reading from Ain't You Got a Right to the Tree of Life, Myles Horton on the people of Johns Island. Here's what he says. Myles Horton, the people of Johns Island deserve tribute. The citizenship schools that went throughout the South were inspired by Esau Jenkins, who was trying to teach his Johns Island bus passengers to pass the South Carolina literacy test required for voting. In a 1955 Highlander Folk School workshop, he had asked for help. In an effort to respond, we spent the next 2 years acquainting ourselves with the culture of the island and with the people. We found out by living and working with them what their problems were and what they wanted, and that they wanted to be voting citizens. Bernice Robinson was chosen to teach the first citizenship school because she respected the people and, having had no teaching experience, would be non-judgmental and experimental. She began the first class in the back room of a cooperative store by saying, "I am not a teacher. We are here to learn together. You are going to teach me as much as I am going to teach you." The curriculum was developed day by day. The people learned to write letters, to order from catalogs, to fill out money orders. They made stories about the vegetables they grew and the tools they used, the chairs and tables in the room. They moved on to reading the Declaration of Human Rights, which hung on the wall, and the South Carolina Constitution, which was a prerequisite of becoming a voter. Music and singing familiar songs livened up the long evenings and blended with the joy of learning. Singing Sea Island folk songs, spirituals, and protest songs helped build the group's consciousness and boosted morale, as together they tackled the difficult task of learning to read and write. This pioneer citizenship school, which met bi-weekly for 3 months, grew from 14 to 37 students. It was soon followed by a second school. Out of the first two schools, 60 people, 2/3 of the total enrollment, passed the literacy test for voting. Esau Jenkins had an explanation for this accomplishment. He said, "No one wants anything more than to be a first-class citizen. That is what makes you learn what you have to learn." Their motivation was for an achievable goal rooted in their culture. Although each individual had to learn to read for himself or herself, they studied as a group. They supported and encouraged each other as they painfully struggled to read. As they took the first steps in learning to read and write, they made use of what they had learned without delay. The process that evolved was simple and easy to explain and could easily be adopted elsewhere. The enthusiastic new voters immediately spread the word to neighboring South Carolina and Georgia Sea Islands. Soon, the citizenship schools were started on Edisto and Wadmalaw Islands. And before the 3 months period ended, half those enrolled had learned to read and write well enough to pass the test and become registered voters. Some had organized their community for discussions of civic issues and voter registration campaigns. Later, as on Johns Island, they would run for public office and provide leadership in the emerging civil rights movement. In 1961, the citizenship school program was transferred from Highlander to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. In the meantime, Septima Clark and Bernice Robinson had developed a residential program for training volunteers who wanted to be citizenship school teachers. Before becoming the educational arm of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the number of teachers trained were counted in the hundreds. But after the transfer, Septima Clark reported that they were counted in the thousands. More impressive than these figures was the vitality of the educational process, which set in motion a liberating force that gave dignity and collective power to thousands of Black people throughout the South. The people of Johns Island deserve tribute for the role they played in the origin and development of a citizenship literacy movement that became a vital part of the civil rights movement and has achieved international recognition. Special tribute is due to the first pioneer citizenship school, created by a teacher who had never taught before and her students who had never been to school, and to the coordinator, Septima Clark, and especially to Esau Jenkins, whose idea it was in the first place. From the Revelation to John. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, bright as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb. On either side of the river is the tree of life, with its 12 kinds of fruit, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations.